I said I wasn't going to post a video tonight, but my plans got kerfuffled, so I'm going to post a video tonight. It might actually be tomorrow by the time it gets posted, but regardless. Tonight we are talking beauty basics, beauty tools. Ooh, so we're gonna do a little knowledge test. Some of the stuff you guys probably already know. Some of it I know, some of you guys I know are new to makeup, so I just kind of want to break down what tools are available, what things you should have in your kit, what things make your life easier, all that good stuff. So we'll start with the basics. So if you can apply a foundation any number of ways. There are flat foundation brushes that you can put your foundation on. You can use your fingers to put your foundation on, just pat it in, like especially if you're using a BB cream or something like that. A lot of times you don't need, sorry, I got scoot. You don't need a whole lot of anything. If you use a brush, the best brushes to use with liquid or cream concealers are going to be very tightly packed and domed so that you can just kind of make circles and it won't leave any kind of marks where the brush was. So you want to make sure it's really firmly packed. The way I put my foundation on for the most part is with a beauty sponge. They come in all different shapes, all different sizes, and it's kind of up to you to figure out. Mine need to be cleaned. It's kind of up to you to figure out what you like. Some of them, some of them have different textures. Like this one is a thicker, firmer, this is obviously not wet, this one's wet. But like the Jeffree Star one is beveled on both sides. The Eco Tools, I believe, has one that's beveled on both sides too. I prefer the one that's beveled on both sides. I'll tell you why. Because you can get in your little nooks and crannies better when it's beveled on one side as opposed to just, on two sides as opposed to just one, because then you have the dome here. The Morphe sponges are a little firmer than the Real Technique. I think the Real Technique sponges and the Eco Tool sponges are probably the closest thing to a beauty blender. And then they also make ones that look like this. These tend to be a lot softer. I think these are good for stuff. I don't know why I keep squeezing it. It's like a marshmallow. These are good for things like cream blushes or contour if you want to use a sponge for that. Now, another thing that you can do with a sponge is bake. Some people do set their powder with their wet beauty sponge. They think, some people like that. They think it melts better in with their foundation. I'm not in that school of thought, but that's just me. If I'm setting under my eyes, I either use a different sponge, and this one is also beveled, but it's kind of rounded, if you can see, and it kind of just perfectly fits right where I want it. I have glasses on. I don't know why I'm like trying to dig in my eye. The other thing that you can use, and you can use this for all your powder. See, I've transitioned into powder so quickly. You didn't even know what happened. As far as powder, you can use a dry beauty sponge. You can use a wet beauty sponge if you prefer. Obviously, if you're going to use a powder brush, you want to use, this thing is stuck on my finger now. You want to use something that is full and domed, and what that's gonna do is it's just gonna, when you put it on, it just gives you a nice even coverage. It's not gonna be patchy or anything like that because it's just got that nice dome. It's not blunt, so it's not like just packing color on. It's just giving you that smooth finishing kind of touch where your face isn't tacky from the foundation anymore, but you're not getting too much on. And as far as baking under your eyes, like I said, I use a dry sponge. You can also use a velour poof, a little poof. This can cause more creasing, but depending on the powder you use too. So those are all personal preferences, but I feel like I've talked about sponges enough. So we're on to brushes now. Obviously, brushes are a big deal. You have what you call your foundation brushes. Hold on, I'm just gonna pull all these brushes out. Hold on. Hold please. That's not really a foundation brush either. All right, you have foundation brushes. Foundation brushes look like this or like this. You can tell those are two, they are different shapes and sizes, but if you look at the bristles of the brushes, it is incredibly closely packed. It is stippled, so you're not gonna have, and what stippled means is that it's thicker at the base than it is at the top. So this one just has more of a flat top and this one's more domed. But both of these are really good foundation brushes. They can be used with creams, they can be used with liquids. If you use powder foundation, obviously these are good options. If you are somebody who uses a fuller coverage foundation, I would recommend getting a smaller domed foundation brush. And this is an IT Cosmetics brush. It's their airbrush series, which you can buy at Ulta. And this one is a Morphe M457. And it's a big honker. Honk honk. I barely use this brush, but anyway. So those are the kinds of foundation brushes. You also have the brushes that you've seen me do veiling with. And what the veiling brushes do is help blend all of the things together. So say you've put your powder on, you put your foundation on, you put your foundation. Sorry, oh my God. You put your powder on and you've put your highlight and you put your contour and you've put your bronzer and you put your blush, and it's just like all so when you veil, you want either a really soft, this is made out of sable, so this is very soft and it's not gonna like remove product as much as it is just gonna kind of softly blend it together. Or the one that I usually use is a flat top brush, because this way you're not paying any more attention to one section of your face. And with this, instead of going like this so much, you're gonna kind of dot it. And what that does is just kind of help pack the product in without giving you any kind of marks. I'm probably screwing my face up really bad, but I have setting spray on, so I should be okay. The next brushes we have are bronzing brushes. Bronzer brushes come in all shapes, fashions, and forms. But the best ones, hold on. I gotta find my baby. Where's my baby? There it is. The best ones look like this. This is actually more of a contouring brush. As you can see, it's very narrow. So when you go to put a contour on, it literally fits naturally into that hollow under your cheekbone. So it kind of gives you a good guide. This is an e.l.f. brush. It costs $3. So this is a really good brush. For bronzer, if you're going to do an all over kind of bronze, you want a stippled brush again, which means it's thicker packed at the bottom, and then the ends kind of get wispy. And the reason you want this is because if you use a brush like this, which is very thickly packed, you are going to get a blob of color. Whereas with the stippling brushes, the brushes that have the white on top, almost every brush has white on top, is what's called a stippling brush. And with this, you don't get the color payout as quickly, so you have more control over the amount of color that's going on your face. Just like with a blush brush. There are many types of blush brush. You can use a blush brush that's like this. You can use a blush brush that's curved and angled like that. I prefer the stippled blush brush because, like I said, I think it gives stippled brushes give you more control. So this I like because it does not have the fibers and the hair all the way to the top, is not that dense. Whereas this, you're gonna get a pack of color. This, you can control the color a little bit better. My rule of thumb is it is always easier to add more than it is to take off. And that's the same thing with like pretty much everything, like cooking. It's always easier to add more spice than it is to take spice out. You know, it's the same kind of thing with makeup. You might want a lot, but you gotta slow it down sometimes. Contouring, I already talked about this e.l.f. brush, which is perfect. Also, you can get brushes that kind of look like a foundation brush, only it's smaller. And these are really good for contouring too, because they do, it's just, you want to find a brush that fits perfectly in that jaw area, because then you can make your little tiny circles up and it gives you more control. Anytime you're doing something like contouring, you want more control. So, you know, if you're doing your nose, this is perfect for your nose because you could just go like this right here and then that right there, and then you've contoured your nose. Or like your forehead, you can go right in your hairline for that. Other types of brushes. If you see brushes like this that are domed, this is a foundation brush. This is a Sonia Kouchik brush. This is what's called a precision foundation brush, Whereas something like this is just a foundation brush. And obviously you can tell the difference. This is very pointy. This is kind of flat topped. The difference being that say you put your foundation all over your face and then you notice that you need more coverage on your cheeks, or you need a little bit more, you want to build it up. That's when this would come in handy, because you just dot it, and it's going to be, like it says, precise. It's going to give you a more precise amount of foundation wherever you put it. So that way you have it where you need it. I don't know where I was going with that sentence. All right, the last brushes I'm going to show you for face, and then we'll go over all the eye brushes, because I know that eye brushes are super confusing. I know they are. I understand. So the last brush I want to go over with your face is a highlighting brush. Highlighting brushes typically either are shaped like this, which kind of is like a wedge, but it's thin. So when you put your highlighter on, it just kind of does this, and this is going to give you a pretty good amount of highlight. So if you use this kind of brush, you're going to get color. There also is this kind of highlighting brush, which, if you've noticed a theme, all of the brushes have this kind of brush. And these are the brushes that don't put as much product on. So once again, say you want a little bit of highlight, but you don't want to do a whole lot. This is what's called a precision highlighting brush. This is a Morphe Y14. And this is like, you could highlight your nose, like the little right above your lip, your chin, if you want to go in with on your brow a little bit and put some, or if you just don't like a whole lot of highlight, it's not going to give you the amount of payout that this is, since it's just more of a flat brush that's just laying down color. All right, done with face brushes. There are different types of eyeshadow brushes, and no one is saying that you have to buy all of them. But I'm just going to explain to you what each of them does, and then you can decide based on the way you do your makeup which ones you need. I personally think that you should probably have one of each of the types, just because that makes it easier on everyone, and you especially. Okay, so these are considered buffing eyeshadow brushes. This is a really, and I sometimes use this to set my powder under my eyes even. It's very fluffy. Ooh, it's got powder in it. It's very compact, and this is good if once you've laid down your eyeshadow primer, you just go, if you're using that all over color, that would be when you would do that. You would just go all over your eye with this. I'd use this one more just because I like the control. See, I tend to go towards the smaller brushes because I like to control where things go better. Both of these are Morphe. This is an M407. Technically, this is a face brush. For setting powder and doing highlight and stuff, but I like this brush as an all-over eyeshadow brush because it's big, it gets the job done quickly. This is a Morphe R32, and it's just kind of a flat top, similar to this, only smaller, and it just packs the color right in. Okay, all over brushes. Done. Check. The next brush that is necessary, I think, if you're going to do an eye look of any type, is what is called, what is it called, Jessica? Blending brush, like a tapered blending brush. I have a lot, so I'm pulling all of them out so you can see all the different shapes and sizes that these come in, because they come in a lot of different shapes and sizes. Okay, and that's pretty much it. So these are all different kinds of tapered brushes. I have more of these. These are the ones. Oh, that's different. Is that different? Yes. Okay. So what these are, I'm gonna actually work from biggest to smallest. So this is an all over, and this are both all over brushes. Like, they're the ones that you're gonna put your transition on with, because they're real fluffy. They're gonna cover a bigger area. They're soft. They're not packed very firmly. This one is the G24, which I use all the time, and this one is an R39. The difference in these two brushes is that one is synthetic and one is not. So depending on whether you're using a shimmer or a matte, that's kind of how I decide which one of these to use. All right, moving on. You have the tapered blending brush. This one is like the other one, but it's very angled. This is a great brush if you only want one blending brush. This would be the brush I would tell you to get, and it's a G16. However, you can find them. Eco Tools has tons of brushes. Real Techniques has tons of brushes. You don't have to buy Morphe brushes, but I just have some, so that's what I'm showing you. But these, the reason these are great is because if you put the longer end right up against your eyeball, the way that it is shaped, it perfectly creates that transition for you. I use this one to deepen my transition because if you go in with the fluffier brush, you'll get more color payout higher up. And then this, I go in and it's a more precise color right along my eye. So it's kind of in between a really, like a precision brush and just a fluffy brush. All right, and this is kind of that same thing. These two are both in that same vein. They're just different shapes. And this, the reason that they make brushes like this in different shapes is because you can do different looks. Like if you're doing a cut crease, you're not gonna do your makeup the same way as if you're gonna do a smoky eye. Or if you're doing a natural eye, you're not gonna do the same thing that you're gonna do if you did a halo eye, you know? So the difference is how the shape in the brushes determines how the color is going to go on your eyes. And literally that's it. So these kind of are your generic blending brushes. I would even probably include this one. One of these is, I don't even know what brand this is. I think I got, it's super cheap and it's like rainbow colored, but I liked it because it was synthetic, and synthetic brushes work really well with mattes for some reason. All of these are just, you know, more precise, but not like super precise. So, you know, these are the ones that you would, if you want to lay down color in your corner, or you want to get a little bit darker, like you want to do 3 transitions. And the only difference in these is this one is kind of comes wide and gives a point. This one is more of a blunt end, and this one is literally almost like a paddle. Like it is a blending brush, but it's almost shaped like a paddle. This can kind of be used for both. So if you weren't going to get a whole bunch of brushes, this would be a really good one. This is a IT Cosmetics brush. And it's one of those filtered airbrush brushes, so it's not as extreme. These two brushes are also blending brushes. One is a Morphe G18, the other is a Luxie 243. And if you can tell, these are pretty much the exact same brush. One's just a little bigger. I always find it good to have more than one of the same brush, because especially if you do makeup the way I do, or you are using multiple colors, you don't want to go in with the same brush again a lot of times, because then it muddies whatever color you're using, unless you're washing your brushes and drying them between uses, which if you do that, good for you. I don't know anyone else who does that. But yeah, these are very precise. So if you put color on with this, it is going to literally, if you put it right up against your eyeball and you just follow the line, that will give you a precise line of color from literally, so that's like the deepest, darkest crease brush you want. And this is also the brush you want if you're just gonna kind of circle down a little into your eyeball. Okay, glasses down, activate. All right, so then you've got your, what's called basic eyeshadow brushes. They're so basic. These come in natural hair, they come in synthetic hair, they come in all different colors and all different shapes, but they all basically do the same thing. I'm trying to get all of them so you can see the difference. Okay. Woo. All right, so, oh my gosh. All right. So here's what we call the basic eyeshadow brush. Okay, so we have different eyeshadow brushes that are different shapes, but they all basically do the same thing. The difference in your basic eyeshadow brushes is you've got some that are smaller like this, that are gonna be more for precision. You can go under your eyes with this, or just do really fine detail work. You're gonna have some that are just paddle brushes. The MAC 242, I have 2 of them. They're my favorite brush of all time. I've had these for 10 years. These, and also the other biggest difference is whether they're synthetic or real hair. The MAC ones are synthetic, and the reason that these are so great is synthetic hair tends to be, and it's not always, like, they've come a long way, but synthetic hair brushes, especially with paddle brushes, tend to be very firm. So if you have a shimmer or a metallic color that you want to just press onto your eye and lay on your eye as opposed to swiping, that's what you use these brushes for, these paddle brushes, because this is going to give you an even distribution of color. And instead of doing that swiping motion like you do in your transition, you're just you're gonna pat. And when you pat, you pack, and you can either use it dry or you can spray it with like Max Fix Plus. You could put it in a little water, whatever you want to do. So that's those. Then you have, this is also a matte brush. This is a matte 213. Difference being, I know they look the same, I know, but watch. This one is very firm. This one is very soft. This is a real hair. This is a synthetic one. So the softer ones work better for mattes, or if you're using something that you know is very pigmented and you don't want to get a whole lot of pigment, that would be the kind of brush you would want to use. Then you've got your domed brushes like this. These are very firmly packed. I have a Morphe R42, and this is one that I got in my Beautylish bag, lucky bag. These are your corner darker colors. This is gonna pack the color on. All three of these are, well no, this one's synthetic. These two are natural hair. And these are just gonna give you good overall coverage just in that corner of your eye right there. And then these are just literally basic eyeshadow brushes. I wanna put some color down. There you go, you got it. You know, and the thing is, you don't have to spend $1 million on these brushes. They make them for all kinds of prices. So let's get some specialty brushes. Specialty brush. Specialty. Okay, these are specialty brushes. Because they do something special. These two are concealer brushes. I use this one mainly if I'm going to use something other than MAC Painterly Pot, because it's synthetic, so you can wash it out real easy. It's really good for laying down eyeshadow base. This one is more of a precision brush. I got this one for $1 from Shop Miss AOA, but this is more of a precision brush if you're doing a cut crease. It's a really good thing for a cut crease because you can be really in there and it gives you a very smooth line. This is a carroty brush, and I've talked about this one before. I love this one because it has the head of a big eyeshadow brush, but it's really short and it's very precise. And it's perfect for going right under your eyes and just kind of helping distribute color there and giving you a little bit more of a smoky look. All right, other tools. Oh, and this is an eyebrow brush. You can always, as I told you too, you can always use brushes like this in darker eyeshadows just to kind of smudge. Or if you think you have too much eyeliner on, you can use these brushes to smudge the eyeliner out. As I said before, another trick, you can always take eye makeup remover. I know, it doesn't make sense. But if you use a eye makeup remover and just dab a little bit on the angle brush and then mark it into the color. Actually, I'm going to show you that works because I'm pretty sure there's probably people in here that are like calling BS on me. So, I'm going to take the Becca Volcano Goddess palette. I'm going to take makeup remover. Just a little bit. I'm going to dip my brush into it. Make sure it is evenly coated. I'm going to go into this orangey, what color is this? Oh, they have colors on the back. It's called Lava. And I'm just going to make a straight line on it. Okay, so before I show you, well, now I'll show you this first because I've already got it on my hand. And then you just go and then you have a lava colored eyeliner. Why that works, I don't know, but let me show you the difference. I'm gonna use the same type of brush and go into Lava Dry. So if you want a more intense color, wet your brush. And that's not like me doing a trick. My husband's standing right here. He will tell you that I was being honest. Yes?
Yes.
You can do that with any, like say you have a color that's very shimmery or very glittery. A lot of times they don't have great payout. So you just take a little eye makeup remover. You can use MAC Fix Plus. You take a synthetic brush, wet it down. This is my MAC 242. You go into the color. Now I'm going into Midnight Sapphire. And you just lay it down. And I'm going to show you the difference. Okay. So I'm going to use the exact same brush, dry. That's it wet. Exact same brush. I'm going to go into it dry. Ooh. No wonder my eyes didn't look purple. So if you want the most bang for your buck, now some eyeshadows do this without having to wet them. But the thing about wetting them is now I'm rubbing my hands, as you can see. The ones I wet are still there with makeup remover. So, pro tip. Other tools. You want a good pair of tweezers. I'll tell you why. One, to tweeze your eyebrows. But if you don't tweeze your eyebrows, if you're not comfortable tweezing your... I just got it everywhere. If you're not comfortable tweezing your eyebrows, I get that. But every once in a while you get like the weird... Let's be honest. Everybody gets the weird chin hair. Or something. No. But my husband's trying to put kitchen tools in here. I prefer pointy tweezers. They make slanted, they make pointy. I prefer the pointy. I think that they're more precise. If you are uncomfortable tweezing or you're not a, your hands aren't super steady or something and the slanted is a better option. I do find, however, that the slanted brushes tend to cut the hair as opposed to pull the hair out, which is not helpful. So because when you start tweezing your hair, especially in your eyebrows or on your chin, the more you tweeze it, the weaker the hair follicle grows, and eventually it just stops growing back. Because I barely have to tweeze my eyebrows. I have a little bit of maintenance. There's some stubborn ones that still come in, but for the most part, mine are gone now. You want a good pair of scissors. I don't have one here, I'd show you. But like a manicure set, the little scissors that are in that's a great thing to put in a makeup bag. Just because, say you're wanting to wear false eyelashes, you take those false eyelashes, you want to put them up your eye, make sure that they are the right length. If they're too long, you can take those little tiny scissors, because if you try to use big scissors, it's going to bend it too much and it's going to ruin the shape of the lash. Other tools, spoolies. Spoolies are always good tools. Spoolies is what this is called. It's the thing that's on the end. I won't buy an eyebrow pencil that does not have a spoolie on the end. I love spoolies. You can also get one of those that looks like a toothbrush. Those are really good too. I know Bobbi Brown used to sell a bunch of those. Is that about it? Oh, you want a good double-sided pencil sharpener, because sometimes you get bigger pencils, sometimes you get little, so that way you have that. I always like to keep a lip scrub on hand in case well, yeah, you obviously need a mirror. I have another mirror. I have a vanity mirror too, obviously, that lights up. I don't do my makeup in that though, because it's scary. Another good tool. These are eyebrow razors. They are a single blade razor. They are very sharp, but they are very effective. And what you can do with this is called dermaplaning. You can go to a esthetician or plastic surgeon or whoever does it and get dermaplaning done. And they use literally like a straight razor. And what it does, the difference between dermaplaning and shaving. Shaving is cutting off hair follicles. That's all it's doing. It's just cutting the hair follicles off. When you dermaplane your face, what you're doing is you're getting rid of all that peach fuzz, but you're also scraping off all of the dead skin cells So everything that's on your face after you dermaplane is fresh, new skin. You're basically giving yourself a whole new set of skin immediately. Also, I know a lot of us have peach fuzz. A lot of us have chin hair. I didn't have chin hair until I had kids. All of a sudden it was like, you know, some darker haired ladies like myself don't. I know I knocked the table. I knocked the table, guys. Sorry. Some people have little mustaches. You can shave those. I actually have gotten to the point where I tweeze mine, which I know some people are like, oh my God, don't do that. But you can bleach it, you can tweeze it, whatever. Myths about shaving, though, are dermaplaning. Oh, the hair is going to grow back thicker. False. The hair might look darker because, one, when you take the dead skin that's off of your face is going to appear brighter and lighter because that is new skin. So the hair that is in the follicle still is going to appear darker because your skin is clean when it starts to grow out. Also, hair does not do that. Hair does not grow back thicker. Like, that's not a thing. Like, if anything, it thins. Hair, because a hair is dead. Like, it's dead. Once it comes out of your face, it's dead. So it's not like, ooh, I'm going to go thicker. It's not possible. That's not something that happens. That is a myth. And the other people are like, oh my gosh, I don't want to shave because if I heard that if I shave, more hair is going to grow back. Also not true. You have the same number of hair follicles on your face that you've had since you were born. Like, you don't get more hair follicles. Like, more hair might grow in some of the follicles, but it's not going to, shaving your face is not, dermaplaning your face is not going to create more hair. It also makes your makeup go on like butter because there's no resistance. You will get so much less patchiness and color will just slide on like it's on a baby's butt because it is. Sometimes you use masks and they pull off all your hair. So, hey, I think that's about it for tonight. I know I rambled a lot. I hope that this was informative. Like I said below, if you have any other questions or you want me to do a beauty basics on something else and get really in depth onto into any subject, please comment down below. Don't forget, I do have 1,000 subscriber giveaway going on. It is getting quite large and in charge. So please enter that. To enter, you have to be subscribed to my channel publicly so that I can go back and look. You also have to like and comment on a video. You get 1 entry per video that you like and comment. So if you comment on 3 videos, you get 3 entries. But if you comment 3 times on the same video, you only get 1 entry. Not that I don't love talking to you guys, but I just want to let you know. You don't get more entries for putting like 10 comments. You can also connect with me on Instagram and DM me and say, hey, this is so-and-so. I'm from YouTube. I will give you 2 extra entries. Or you can follow me on Twitter. I will put all that information down below. Also, I am applying to be a Sephora influencer like a lot of us YouTubers are doing. I would love if you would write a testimonial for me. I will leave the link down below. It is not a mandatory thing. I'm not going to pressure you. We don't get to see them, so I don't know who gets to do it. But if you would, because you like me and you like my content and you want to see me grow, I would greatly appreciate it. All right, so that's it. So everybody take a deep breath and be still.